So, yeah, to get into this party, you are going to need to... I'm going to need to check your name off this list. So,
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah?
That's fine. I'm definitely, just Tay under T.
Yeah,
It's definitely...
that's under main character. Cool, you're in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You can come in.
I'm on the list.
Yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
he's on the list. He's on the list.
Get your name?
He's with me.
Yeah?
It's fine.
What was your name there, B?
I'm just with Tay. I'm a
it's
side
fine.
character.
Oh, you're one of the side characters. Okay. You can, I'll just tick off with Tay, side character.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Backwater Bastards Lore Dive.
Oh, it's the Lore Dive.
Oh, it's the Lore Dive. I'm DMing this whole affair, and with me today I have Daniel Matthews, aka Dr. Z, the Psychic Jellyfish.
It's me, the Psychic Jellyfish. And
It is.
Daniel, side character Dan.
And alongside him, we have Taylor, aka Cleo, the Explosives Expert Bear.
It's me, Tay. But I'm pretty sure that earlier you said I was the main character. So.
Yeah, you got in on a main character pass.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Main character energy.
Yeah, that's it. And you know who else is with us? It's the wretch, the beast, the pig, the rat.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I looked up similar words for toad, and they are horrible. One of them.
Why would you start with toad?
I don't know.
I thought you started
toads.
with I thought you started with beast or something.
I thought it would give me a bunch of cool words like amphibian.
You toad.
You scumbag. You heel. You skunk, you weasel. I'm gonna screenshot this because I did not know that any of these were words for toad. Anyway, Dick's here.
Thanks, Tay. this thesaurus has taken a
so
dark
mean.
turn today. It had to happen one day.
Anyway.
So guys, we're here to talk about side characters. What is a side character? What makes them a side character? What is a character? We'll answer all these questions. I mean, the side characters, these are all the people that we meet in the Backwater Bastards universe that aren't you guys, really.
Yeah.
And we have
AKA
met...
people that we ain't
Yeah.
all the time.
Side characters, aka people that we ain't.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sort of go over them. We'll break them into different parts. We'll talk about who they are, why they are, what they're good for, and just how we, as the Backwater Bastards, just generally deal with side characters. Does that sound good?
I'm in.
I need to learn about them so that if they ever cross us, we can defeat them.
Well,
You'll never defeat me.
Well, no, I want
We
to.
will.
So you need to tell me how. How can I?
Well, yeah, take advantage of your time with me and not the characters, because the characters will never inform you.
well, that's fine because
Damn,
they
ominous.
aren't here.
Yeah.
Right now it's dick time.
Yeah.
And anyway,
Well, should we start with what the side characters are for? Why it is that we
why
even
is this
have
important?
side characters? Why is it important? Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, obviously, anyone who's GMing a tabletop RPG type game, you've got a bunch of non-player characters. And if they, are recurring, if they come back, if you start establishing who they are and what their relationships are to the player characters, I would say you got yourself a side character going on. And frankly,
No way.
they are the easiest way for me to influence the story, to give you guys the info you need and move the plot towards potential outcomes that I am hoping for.
It's also kind of important because if you think about it, like we started playing this sci-fi game and neither one of us decided to take any skills in piloting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which who would ever need that? But
Well, that's
Who
it,
would've
because,
thunk it?
if you remember, if we go back to season 1, Herodotus actually had a piloting skill because he was going
Right.
to fly your ship.
He
when
did.
we left Harry behind, I was like, well, you guys just take Trevor then, and Trevor can fly. And that
Thank
was
you.
that was
big fat
the entire
band-aid.
thought process.
Yes.
As well, legitimately, like I was ready to toss a coin whether it would be Trevor or Billy Bob Zarg that would come and be your pilot.
Really?
You could have had a completely different gang mate.
How
Gang
would
mate.
Oh my
Billy Bob
God.
Zarg sound?
Billy Bob Zog. Well, I decided I couldn't do his voice on demand.
That's fair.
I don't think this is how Billy Bob Zog sounded, but this is what's coming out now. I mean, I can't do an American accent at the best of times, let alone.
Oh, is that what that was?
I quite like that voice that you just did, though.
I mean, that was verging on Foghorn Leghorn.
You sounded kind of like a
attempt.
guy that would share a Coke with us.
Hmm?
That's nice.
Yeah, but I'd want a glass.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
But that's
I don't
absolutely
wanna
it. Like
hook her up to the same bottle.
Trevor,
it's Billy
like,
Bob Zog.
I literally put Trevor in your spaceship with you guys for the
And
sole
we didn't
purpose
kill him.
of give you guys a pilot. 'cause-
We're kind of like beta fish. You get one, and you're like, "Oh, I should give it a friend and see what happens," and then they eat each other.
I mean, his character was,
Yeah.
we'd had a bunch of him, but he'd been part of an ensemble. He'd been part of Clan Zarg. And I feel like
Which we are definitely going to talk about.
All of
over the course of us season 2ing about with him, he's developed so much more of his own personality that I can make jokes with, I can have fun with, I can
And
really...
it's a great place for us to make jokes as well at Trevor's expense.
We really do that a lot. I
Yeah.
have noticed, and I kind of love it because this lets us play with Dick. And if Dick didn't have these, I see your face, Dan,
Clip
and
that sound.
you can
Yep.
just stop it.
It's Dick time. It's just playing with Dick.
Dan, you say it too. And my favorite thing about it is playing with Dick.
My favorite thing is playing with Dick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
As
been a
you
long
can
week.
see, we love playing with Dick. But the
Yeah.
thing is like if we didn't have these characters, which some of them, frankly, at this point started out as side characters and kind of ballooned,
Mm.
we would obviously be playing with Dick, but now we're really playing with Dick. And
Yeah.
it's cool. It's
Up
exciting.
close and personal. You've
Up
got
close and
Dick
personal.
right there in your hands.
Instead of like from far away, from across the room with your ghost arm, with your
It's right in front of our faces, eye level.
Mage hand.
mage hand. I guess what happens to the other anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's not a stretch to say that especially like you look at like the last
Funny that
last
you
couple
say
of
that
episodes.
after you talked about anyway.
Like Trevor and
whole
Boris
episode's
are
this.
just right there in the core friend group with, best friends group with Cleo and Z,
Oh, yeah.
which is thematically, I think, like a really important thing. It's on all our promotional material. That's what Backwater Bastards is
It
ultimately
is.
about.
Mm.
It's
It
in
is.
space, but it's about friends.
We're telling
Yeah.
the best goddamn best friend story in the galaxy, in the universe, in the world.
Besties.
Besties! And we love these characters.
Yeah.
Truly. And I mean, that is probably not surprising to you. Anybody out there that's playing a game like this, you fall in love with these creatures and people and all these people that you weren't supposed to bring with you that you
Yeah.
did, and you adopted them, and like, can we keep the bad guy and rehabilitate him? And
Yeah.
you weren't supposed to, but you did, and everybody has a story like that, right? And
Oh, but that's universal in tabletop RPGs.
That's the
like,
thing. That's what
every
you do.
dungeon master has that story about like, I had this character that was supposed to be X, but my players decided to adopt them and turn
Yes.
them into
Yeah,
Y.
yeah.
that is the origin of Boris.
Well, the origin
Yes,
of
I mean-
Boris, but also it reminds me of Tal Morris. So our first
boy.
adventure which was
Yeah.
called Raloran, which is now on the side on the Patreon, and it's where we cut our teeth on podcasting. We were playing D&D 5th edition. It was a homebrew adventure through the land of Raloran, a place that Dickie had made up, and we had a character there, an NPC that joined us for all the adventures, was basically there the entire time, called
And he was like your hated whipping boy.
called Tal Morris, and we
Just like
bullied
Trevor.
that character and hated that character so much, but they were always with us. And I mean, we loved Trevor a little bit more than we loved Tal Morris.
That's true. Tal Morris got the
But I mean,
shortest
it's-
end of the
yes.
stick
Yes,
possible.
I mean, surely it should be pretty obvious that Boris was going to be this universe's Tel Morris.
we
And
wouldn't let you do it.
we wouldn't let you.
you loved him somehow. You
We
fell
loved
in
him
love.
to life.
Yes,
gave him your love, right?
And
from the
I would
get-go.
argue that Boris is like probably like the truest Dick character we've ever even gotten to see.
yeah,
Because I remember playing the butter knife and like that absolute pandemonium of that, and just having that moment where I was like, oh my God, Boris is the chaos.
yeah,
And the fear that moved through our bodies in that moment. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what have we done? And I was like, this is Dick. This is
Yeah.
real Dick.
Well, I suppose that allows us to segue quite nicely into where do these characters come from? How do we make
I'm
them?
gonna
Where
get
do,
so many good clips from this episode.
and that's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Is the question? The thing is, like,
One of the biggest ones.
Exactly. I was just thinking.
One of the biggest ways in which we generate side characters is like
Right
an
out of your
offhand
dick.
mention. It's so often, and I feel like you guys maybe you don't necessarily notice or remember because I end up having to elaborate so quickly. But there'll be like an offhand mention of an NPC,
Yeah.
and you guys will like, wait a second, zoom in on that. And then suddenly I've got to describe it. Suddenly I've got to do a voice. Suddenly it's a character.
Yeah.
And so more often than not, and that's, I mean, maybe it's down to like my style. Like I don't necessarily flesh out characters that I'm not going to. So basically, I mean, my villains are fleshed out. My allies and side characters usually not, because I cannot predict which ones you guys are going to befriend or which ones
The
you guys
answer
are going to
is
even
fucking all of them.
pay
I think-
attention to or ignore.
Even lately, which ones you're going to end up killing
Mm-hmm.
quite quickly.
Well, I mean, that's down to the roll of the dice,
Okay.
really.
Or if you're wearing a turtleneck that day or not.
Exactly. I think it's more about whether you've got the turtleneck on or not.
But I mean, I mean, clans are.
Agree.
They were legitimately, they were a means to an end. I wanted to have some mercenaries show up, basically, so that I could get you guys out of the situation.
He saved
then
us. Do you hear that?
Like, yeah, Herodotus deputized and like, you know, brought them into the fold. And then like once you got talking with Trevor and talking to them, you realize like, these people are like displaced people. They've got a homeland. We have to go save their land. And like all of Zarg Moon sprung out of like improv. It was just us like playing about. So, you know, once I had you guys like these throwaway mercenary characters who I had like a bit of like a aesthetic and sort of thematic design around them, but I didn't really know their backstory. But you guys started asking them questions about their past.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I've got some things in the bag, so let's make that this. And it huge, like shaped the universe entirely.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that you guys decided to
love
actually
them.
strike up a meaningful conversation with these characters.
Do you see what can happen if you take an interest in people?
Yeah. See what can happen if you just ask your NPCs some questions rather than just shooting first and worrying
There's
about
an
it later.
NPC in your life. Just ask them where their homeland is.
And why do they need
I mean,
help?
and Boris is the obvious one. He's adopted and like just brought into the party. Even though in my mind he was just supposed to show up in the airport and never be seen again.
We loved him immediately.
Yeah.
Like it was horrible. It was instant. And Dick was like, please leave the man on the golf cart alone. And we were like, we're coming back to take him. And I remember the conversation where we were like, we cannot kidnap him. That would be weird. But
Yes.
how can we coerce him?
How can we?
And he had a missile.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And we loved that about him.
He had a missile.
Absolutely.
He had a missile.
Do we need to put in the origin of the missile into the origin?
Maybe.
I mean, he just saw it in a skip, you know.
Yeah.
So.
But
In a skip.
yeah.
There's no way.
Just on his way home from work, just like, oh, what's that?
I think if you go back to that episode, that is the full story about it. Like,
Probably. But like he needed help to move it.
yeah.
Mm.
And we were like, you are our child now. It's like that gif of like the gorilla in Tarzan who's like holding Tarzan and she's like, I'm his mother now. That's us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happened.
That is us.
That's what happened. And God bless Boris and that voice that you have to do forever now.
Yes, you are stuck with
Yes.
that. So yeah, these characters, they become real friends and really beloved in our world. And so we, just as important as main characters over time. But how do you create these side characters? What's your process for going about starting this?
Okay, so what happens first is you guys fall in love with your taxi driver or your shopkeeper. Like it's always like these people who are
Yes.
like they're supposed to be incidental. They're incidental by design, but you guys are like,
We're just
no.
so loving, is
Yeah.
what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Like Parter
We're
as well
so
is another
damaged.
example
Parter,
of a taxi
I wish we could have kept
driver.
Parter.
A taxi driver that you guys befriended.
Is something
Parter.
wrong with us? Why do we do this?
And do you guys like strike up conversations with like cabbies in real life?
Absolute. Well, okay, maybe a little bit.
I try.
A little bit. It just usually doesn't like. I'm gonna be real right now. I do try to do this in real life sometimes, and it fucking never goes well. It
Doesn't
always,
work out the way it does
it
in
always
fantasy
gets
worlds.
really scary.
In New Zealand, I think I made friends with a guy on a labor job, and then I brought him back to the flat to like hang out and party. And he came back a night later and stole everyone's guitars and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then everyone was really angry with me and was like, Daniel, stop making friends with random people and bringing them back to the house. And I was like, yeah, fair enough.
I mean, surprisingly, it's never gone that way for you guys in Backwater Bastards yet.
Well, and now you've given Dick a great idea.
Yeah,
so
I hope you don't.
We're gonna fall in love with the next person that we meet, and they're gonna rip us up.
I didn't love that guy. He was a new friend who betrayed me.
A new acquaintance. During the poisoning on Zarg Moon, you guys were
I guess you've already done this.
You guys were convinced that there was like a traitor in your midst.
Yeah. We had such an elaborate plan to figure it out too. We were like faking it so hard, and but
there was so much fear of what if it's and you just didn't want to believe it of any of them, and that was really fun. And you did that to yourselves. I didn't even try and plant that seed, but.
Well, that's the story of the Backwater Bastards.
Well, listen to that.
We did it to ourselves.
Dick was like, I was having the time of my life, and you guys were really nervous.
But I mean, how do I create?
I bought 2 turtlenecks that day.
I mean, I guess I've already sort of explained this process a little bit, but it really is like an elaboration and a zoom in on what is found important. Like I often do that with environment design and with stories and stuff as well. Like whatever you guys, come in on. That's controlling if this was a TV show, you're controlling the camera. If you guys want to get like a closer look at something, then we're zooming in on it and we're getting more detail on that. And so it very much is. These characters get more detailed based on how much you want them. And then if it does get to that point of like, this is obviously going to be a recurring character, then I will, hopefully there's a chance like between 2 episodes, I will actually plot out like backstory and plans for them and all that sort of thing. But
this makes sense to how you're saying that there, and it feels like how we've made characters in our adventures so far as well, where we've gone in with a little bit of an idea, and then it's become more than that through the course of playing them, and then later on we'll go back and we'll do an origin for that character, because after we've understood them for a while, that's when we go, okay, now we can flesh out their backstory a bit more.
That's a big deal for us.
Well, that's it. And having done both Z-Day and Cleo Day now, we're moving on to side characters. We're doing the origin, and it's opened up a world of do we end up doing this for loads of these side characters? Maybe.
I
but
just love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
We have had Boris for over 1.5 years now. I went back and checked. Because I was like, how old is Boris? Because we talk about origins a lot. And that's the piece of it that I can't stress enough, is that you don't get to have an origin story until you've lived a little bit in this universe. We don't touch origins until that character has been through a couple of arcs. I mean, all of our characters, and even when we had Ralaran, you have to have lived for a long time before you could do an arc.
Ralaran, we
origin.
were nearing the end of the entire show before we did some of them. It was
that was an end thought, and we had only just started doing it then.
Yeah.
But doing this one, this is the first time we've done an origin for somebody that isn't us. It's for Dick,
one of Dick's
which is
characters.
Really cool, and it's
so cool.
I mean, Boris is. He's reached that point now where he's
a main character.
Yeah.
Yes, he's not really a side character. So excluding Boris, because I think he has just graduated to main.
He has graduated.
Character.
Yes.
Who's everyone's favorite actual side characters?
I think it's Deets for me.
Is it really? Why?
Yeah. Just because
he does inspire a bit of imagination.
Yeah, and I love that Deets doesn't change. I love that Deets is always Deets. Deets is always aggressive, loyal to Zuzu, and, is unapologetic about not liking us and getting what Deets wants. So even when we were fighting the One True Leader, Deets was in there with their own secret agenda of what they wanted to achieve and how they wanted to achieve it. And they just used us to get to that point. And then did what they wanted.
It ended with this whole thing of they were potentially going to execute a bunch of your allies, from the other side of the revolutionaries, and he's scouting out I've worked out where the bastards are hiding as well. He was a threat while actually being on your side.
Yeah, did everything just brilliantly, and so that's why I love Deets so much. It's Deets is unapologetically Deets. And it's just, that's why I so badly want to be friends with Deets. I want Deets to...
But Deets, has to be, at best a frenemy, just by by their design.
Yeah. So that is for me. What about you, Tay? What's your favorite, who's your favorite side character?
Oh my God. Okay, I'm actually, this is hard for me to pick because I think my brain just always automatically said Boris. But... Boris really isn't a side character anymore,
No.
so I feel like we can't go
Leveled
that
up.
way. I think I'm gonna have to say I have a lot of like sub favorites,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna go with Captain Reese.
I mean,
Because
that's
the Captain Reese story hooked me immediately.
It's
I mean,
one
here's
of
the
those
interesting thing with
stories
Captain
that-
Reese, though, right?
Yeah.
We're not seen or heard anything from them. It's all been like third hand, second hand, whatever.
Exactly.
It's
It's
so
just like the
mysterious.
idea, the archetype of Captain Reese, and the way that pieces of it have been kind of like
The statues that we drove past in the
Yeah,
taxi.
when that happened, I legitimately felt just like I was in the taxi, just like trying
Yes,
really
I
hard to look
agree.
out the window at something I was passing too quickly. You
I
know that
agree,
feeling
yeah.
when you're like in a car really
Mhm.
fast and you're like, I'm trying to see that thing. I know it's
Yeah.
important. And you just don't. And you're looking out the like lower corner of the window and you miss
100%
it.
agree.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly how I felt. And I remember when we recorded that moment and I was like, oh my God, this matters so much. And we're just gonna, we're not getting it. And like the mystery of Reese and why was Reese there and who is Reese and who's Captain Reese and who's friends, like who is Reese
And then-
looking for, and
Also, as M8, you discovered
the skeleton.
the skeleton and so much more history. But
Oh, that
so
was
as a
such a
player, we
pirate
knew
treasure
stuff.
moment.
As a player, we knew stuff that our characters didn't, and so it just makes it even more
Exactly.
tantalizing. It's like, oh,
Like
I
Z
want to
was
know.
so close
I
to
want to
like, you know,
know.
stumbling onto the entire mystery, but
It was
Z
just
was
such
preoccupied.
it's not relevant to him.
Yeah, it
and
just
it's one
wasn't
of those
relevant.
things where like we're now going into the territory of like what kind of stuff would we make Origins for if we could do anything, and
Yeah.
Captain Reese has
Oh.
always been the one that I have in my back pocket that
Agree.
I'm like, I want to do a different thing for Captain Reese and like tell that story one day,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like do like almost like an audio drama for it, like a
An
really
audio drama or like just a separate campaign to figure out that
Maybe.
stuff
Very
because
fun.
that is
Maybe.
just so cool.
I don't know, I'm like low key obsessed with Captain Reese.
I 100% agree, and I'm so glad you gave that answer because I hadn't thought about it for a while, and now that you've said it, it's just like it is such a tantalizing mystery.
It
That
just
is-
gives this like really massive undercurrent to the story we're telling
Yeah.
right now, because
Yeah.
it's like we're doing this story which, you know, is really really different, and then
Yeah.
the Captain Reese story is this like meat that
Yeah,
gives such form to everything that we're doing right now, even though
Hmm.
it has literally nothing to do with our day to day, and our characters know nothing about it, which is crazy, but that's where we are.
That's such a fun thing to have like accidentally stumbled into too, because again, like it was, the mystery of your ship. I thought was going to be more important to your characters, but
Mm.
very quickly, like the ovum took precedence because
Right.
Yeah.
you guys adopted it, and Harry
That
Harry
really
was like,
changed the whole.
like this is my baby
Yeah.
now, like, and you guys were like, no, we can't possibly give this baby to a gangster, like to what kind of life is that? And yeah, like it hadn't even remotely occurred to me that that's what was going to happen, but it immediately shunted all the Captain Reese stuff into the background, and then once we stumbled on these breadcrumbs, it's like, wow, okay, this is way cooler than actually having it be
Yeah.
the main story.
yeah.
Damn.
I don't know. If I had to pick a favorite character, I was really struggle because definitely favorites for me to play is that sort of revolving door. And like as well, like I know things about these characters that you guys don't. So like there's some characters that I've got like, quite an attachment to that you guys wouldn't know why, because like it's not necessarily in the podcast yet.
You better spill the goddamn tea on that.
But one of my favorites to play, my favorites to sort of like, like just like keep hammering home is that revolving door of old rich white people. Well, to be fair, they're not all white, but old rich Terrans.
Yeah.
I love them because they are always the bad guy, and I am here for it.
So we've,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we had Monty, who was literally just supposed to be like exactly like Herodotus, but if Herodotus was like more selfish and had gone private.
I was
That's
just
blown up in
immediately
a
obsessed.
big way.
Immediately
Monty
obsessed.
was supposed to be like this sort of this mirror of Harry.
Monty
then we-
immediately made Harry look like a great guy.
Yeah.
But then I flipped and did Larky. Larky was more like the actual foil. Where Larky was like really serious
yeah.
but quite incompetent. And then you got you guys who were like not at all serious, but somehow just keep pulling it out of the bag. And like it was really fun to play him getting more and more frustrated and realizing how bad he was looking in the Emperor's eyes.
So far, Monty, death by explosion. Larky, death by pistol to the head.
Well, then we've got the Emperor, who
Still out there
you know,
fucking shit up.
Still out there.
I really did enjoy being able to like bring out the Emperor and be like, Yeah, guess who it was pulling all these strings? Guess who it was who sold you out to the crawl? It was all me. I'm the emperor. I'm
Yeah.
everywhere.
But then
And,
BJ.
Yeah. Oh, my
BJ.
days.
Well, I
Terrifying.
mean, prior to BJ, we've got the captain as well.
The captain. Oh, yeah, the captain. The captain. Just ick. Ick.
She's
okay.
she's fun, but we've not seen much of it. But she's just as psychotic as she's
we
more
ever get
psychotic
her
than
name?
BJ, I would say. She is just the captain. You don't know her name.
Just the captain. That's okay. I thought that I had missed it. That's so.
Yeah, you still don't know her name.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying characters.
And BJ, I mean, he's the big bad right now. I enjoy how frightening he can be, and how you can play with like that fear of. It's just the fact that he can do anything he wants, and things he wants to do are unpredictable. Like that combination is just, it's a lot of fun.
BJ scares the fucking hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I love how you reprised the scariest thing that's ever happened to us, the rebar with this needle in the dark.
Yeah.
Over it.
Oh, my days.
Immediately no. When you described that, I was like, I'm going to figure out how to get out of here right now.
Yeah.
I was as well, like, what weapon is BJ going to pull out that is going to be just skin crawling and
well, you found
scary and like that's what it had to be. It's like I need to get this across to us. Really, it needs to be something that it can't just be some innocuous thing that turns out to be scary. It's got to be scary as he pulls it out.
It makes
and we
me
don't
think
even know
of
what's in it.
Exactly.
That's even scarier. It could be like a bioweapon.
It's not what you see on screen. It's what you don't see. That makes things even more terrifying. And this,
like in that movie Signs.
Signs is such a good movie.
But I mean, I guess like I enjoy playing a lot of the friendly characters as well. I mean, especially the ones who are unflapped, unfazed by you guys is always quite fun. Like
those
I guess
ones
like
are really funny
Big
too.
Big Pat, the rental
Big
lady,
Pat was
or
funny.
Parter,
Oh, I love Big Pat.
because both of them are like just really chill with you guys doing your thing. Like they just don't care.
Yeah.
For different reasons, but they're not going to get like flustered or upset about the bastards being themselves. Like they're okay. I mean, I think Pat, maybe she judges them, but
good.
She's professional. She doesn't.
I like it.
She doesn't. She's not going to complain about anyone. Like
I
you
love
show up,
Big Pat.
you pay what you're supposed to pay, you bring your thing back, and it's not too damaged. Then you're all good with me.
I feel like we engage more with somebody that's like not nice to us.
Yeah. We seek their approval.
It's like there's like some kind of rubber mechanic that happens where we're like, oh, did we bounce off of that? Wow, that was fun. Let's see how many times we can throw ourselves at the ground. And Dan, who's your favorite side character to play?
So we've got, of course, from Cleo Day, Bortus.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would have to be Bortus. Bortus was incredible fun. And I had so much fun playing with Willem, doing that little adventure in the Cleo Day. That was incredible. So, yeah, that would Bortus. But who knows? Maybe at the end of Boris Day.
I mean, Peril's not had much of a chance to shine yet.
Peril hasn't had much chance to shine yet. But Peril
He hasn't.
Peril is definitely a lot of fun. And it is nice to play something different.
My favorite Dan is the one that is the hotness.
I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what that character's called.
The fashion correspondent. I think they were just called Weber.
Weber, the fashion correspondent.
They were all Weber.
Yeah.
I did like Weber. That was a fun one.
Tell us, who is the new hotness? And you, Taylor, tell us, who is your favorite hotness? Oh.
I think it's I don't know. I think it might be Bobby.
Yeah. Of course. Bobby is brilliant.
I think it's Bobby.
I mean, we've got so much like unreleased Bobby rambles as well. Like I feel like when you got into like those Bobby, especially once we like determined that Bobby like has like this fucking warehouse like selling junk, like
media empire, this shopping empire, just everything. Bobby just chucks their name on anything.
And that, I mean, Bobby, that did originate, didn't it? Like when we were like trying to find parking on Prospect Town, and
yeah,
like,
I think so.
It's like, okay, we're all going to do a bunch of character voices, and like there's this one voice that just kept cutting through. Like Bobby's got space for you. It's like,
Bobby got space for you. Yeah.
That was it. That was like that's who you're gonna park with.
But that character got a TV deal immediately after that moment.
I know.
and then and just acted as if they'd always been on the TV.
Well, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. Love them.
Fake it till you
Love
make
Bobby.
it.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. That's it. That's the lesson that I learned from Bobby in all things.
So, why don't we just start going through and like thinking back to, we've got so many side characters. Let's try and remember a bunch of
Roll call.
right here in the base with the bastards. We have Boris and Trevor, who we have covered kind of extensively.
Yeah.
But let's not forget Reese.
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 And Reese is like the bastard's oldest, like new friend.
Yeah. And
I love you,
Reese
Reese.
has got a brilliant sense of fashion and style, and is on track to be the new hotness.
And we haven't had a lot from Reese lately because you guys have been flying in a different ship. You've been doing a lot of stuff on mid-space.
That's been feeling bad to me, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I've been feeling
I
legitimately.
think we need to definitely
stinky
do some Reese stuff very soon.
As we said last time, I want to go to a gas station and I want to take Reese to see a mechanic and explore some of these modules that we talked about in the Lore Dive ships.
That's a real a Reese. I mean,
the
that's
gas
thing,
station is my new dream, by the way.
We've had the food episodes, we've had the shopping episodes, we've had the party episodes.
Now Reese gets to do it because we abandoned him for a while.
The Pimp My Ride episode.
Pimp My Ride.
Have it.
Oh yes, I would love that.
And then I guess we've also got characters that are intrinsically tied to all our main characters by virtue of being important figures in their past. I'm talking, of course, about the characters that featured in the origin stories.
Oh.
Some of the coolest times.
This is like the only time that me and Dan get to play side characters.
Yeah.
Which
unless we're doing the news or something, crazy like that.
Which we got to do one time, and then we were asked to leave, and we never got to come back.
Yeah.
Well, we might do it again. But
okay.
I mean, so we go in order,
yeah.
So we've got the when Cleo and Z met in prison.
The friendship origin.
Yeah, we had a bunch of obviously Spines.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Spines. Ooh, Spines.
F in chat.
F's. Throw them up.
Spines, the sort of, there's this weak little alien that you guys decided to befriend. Spines was
didn't
very
want
much
to fight.
No,
and then
Spines
in
was
the
the very
end,
definition of a character that you guys co-opted because you liked them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go somewhere weirder with that and it was going to hurt me.
You guys got killed.
well,
your own selfish.
essentially did because
Spines went out heroically, though.
Yeah.
Spines didn't want to fight, but Spines had to.
Yeah.
Well,
simple as that.
That's so sad.
It's not like, you guys forced it upon them.
But we
they were just stuck in that situation.
We also made friends with Crispy. And
Oh my
Crispy,
days,
who
I love
did
Crispy.
return to kind of save the day with that horrifying stealth ship towards the end of the Zarg Moon.
A bunch
scenario.
of rogue synth gang chefs.
yeah.
It's just, I love it. Visually, there's so much you could do there. And again,
I mean,
the
they're
video
not
game
even
happened.
chefs, outside of prison. The whole thing was like they were the
they're
chefs
still
because
chefs.
they
They're
had
chefs.
they had access to the food.
They
because
believe in it.
They didn't need to eat it.
I
so
believe
they
in
could
them.
offer the
them.
most.
Yeah,
Whoa,
exactly. Thank you,
jinx.
Jink. Damn it.
Whoa. Damn it. Amazing. I don't know what's happening.
You have to say my name 3 times, otherwise I can't talk.
Daniel.
Oh, thank you. you
I don't-
get 3 punches because I did say some words next time I see you.
Do you guys remember why we named him Crispy?
Yeah. Named after
Because-
Chris B.
Yeah, that was our 1,000th follower on Twitter.
What? I'd forgotten that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
That was all the way back then.
Yeah.
And
It was a
God, I
big
mean,
thing.
we had a bunch of other characters. We had the Prison King. We had the
Scary.
Prison King's scary telekinetic assistant glasses.
Oh,
The
glasses.
goddamn police.
You're
I mean,
trying to...
it was like this whole boss fight after boss fight thing of you guys having to get through all these enemies to get out. It was very video gamey or anime sort of thing.
It was. And then once the bosses were over, you just threw a wave of enemies at us as well. So
Yeah, that was terrible.
yeah. It really was a timed
I just
mission.
remember playing that and being like, are you actually we have to survive this, right? This is an origin. And
Yeah.
we had
I mean,
glasses.
to be fair, I did play very recklessly with you guys compared to I don't know. I think Cleo Day. Should we I mean, maybe
Let's move on to Cleo Day, yeah.
Because Cleo Day, I feel like, was just as bloody perilous.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, yeah,
In
you
a
had
different
armored
way.
bears walking around, and we were crawling around in air vents and in the walls, and
Yeah.
But I mean, side characters. The big duo, I think, here is Bortus and Fron.
100%.
Love them.
For those of you who haven't been with us for years and years and years, or aren't on the Patreon, Bortus and Fron, there's two character names at least, and voices, and just general like attitudes. That it was a pair of characters we had in Raloran. Back in our fantasy days, they were a pair of orcish druids.
Yes, for the origin that we did for my character Hakes.
Yeah, we were looking after a very special glade, a triangular patch in the forest, and we, for some reason, decided that glades needed to be triangles, and
they do.
We were passive druids who tried to supply Hakes with as many good berries as possible.
Yeah, and it was Dan and my husband Willem. They played Bortus and Fron.
Such a good time.
And Bortus and Fron are ancient, you guys. They are not Orbital Refuse characters to begin with. They come all the way from Raloran. That is something that we carried with us in our little backpack. Yeah. And when it was time to do Cleo Day,
I don't think we even talked about it, did we? We knew it was going to happen. It was
just
like,
knew.
And obviously we're going to have a new version of Bortus and Fron.
Yeah. And we just revamped them. Same people.
I'm just going to have them be like, like dire scumbags in Cleo's
lovable
employ.
idiots who,
And it's just so good.
Yeah.
As well, I really did think, like, coming into Cleo Day, I thought it was going to be this, it's going to be, like cowboys in space. It's talking bears. It's Bortus and Fron. This whole thing is going to be like fun. It's going to be like silly, and we got dark pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah, it was terrifying, and that
I was
is why
surprised by that, and I was really proud of it too. I was.
It's one of my favorite stories we've told. But I'm, it makes me terrified about what's going to happen in the Borigin now.
But we had some other side characters going on there. We had Margot Blue Eyes McCracken.
Yes.
A brilliant character.
Cleo's rival.
The rival. And so cool as well. Much like Deets, a character that I want to like, and I want to like me, because such a badass, such a independent person. Whereas,
well, I mean, she was, at least in the sort of, the beginning of Cleo Day, I think she was kind of like that sort of silly, like foil, like the rival for no good reason kind of character. Who,
like an anime rival. That was my Sasuke.
Yeah. And she graduated into being like a character. Yeah, once you realize, like they're not enemies, they're frenemies. Like
you have
Margot
a character like that in your life.
Cut up about what's happened to Cleo.
You're freaking in love, okay?
Yeah,
you're in love.
And Margot, that means Margot's just out there in the universe now, on a mission.
On a mission,
continuing to do what Margot does, and it's
so we also
brilliant.
Introduced, didn't we, the power armored BioLife like security guard who she was never named, I don't think, and she came back. She came back in the future when we had the Margot episode.
That was terrifying.
But she had like the spider legs in the head because she'd
and
been
Cleo's body.
Oh yeah, it was all very scary.
My own body was a side character.
Your own body.
Yeah, because that's how I got it. That's how I got.
Yeah, Cleo's new body.
The new body. Okay, yes.
The bear.
I mean, I guess my body was. Both my bodies were in the same frame.
The bear that Cleo currently resides within, was a side character who was just a sort of, like scary ass bear that just happened to be there.
Yeah, who had very heavy footsteps. I remember doing the sound effects and just the boom.
That's so
boom,
scary.
Boom.
And then
we one-upped it.
Mention, I guess, of a BioLife, high-ranking personnel called Tamsin.
Yes.
And that's whole thing. But I don't think we met her.
She's out
properly.
there, though. She's out there.
But she's there. And that I've been sort of sitting on this one for a while. I thought maybe like an eagle-eyed re-listen might reveal it. But Tamsin was actually first mentioned all the way back in the Monty episodes.
Really?
I remember you telling us that because you tried to get us to talk about it, and we were like, "You're gonna have to tell us." Like, and there's a lot of details here.
She's the potential, like, I don't know, like big villain, big bad kind of entity out there at some point.
That's an emperor-sized villain.
Oh my god, this is just starting to look like Charlie and the yarn, the red yarn.
There's a lot of people.
Another one just pops up.
Well, you can't make that sort of superhero movie mistake of killing them all. You got to keep some of them out there to threaten.
Gotta have a little bit of evil. Always look on the bright side of life.
Okay, how about Z-Day?
Z-Day. Oh my god.
M8, I thought you might mention as like someone who was your favorite to play, because
M8 was really fun to play. It was a tie between M8 and Bobby for me.
Like a weird heart of the episode somehow, which was
M8 was an accident. Like I almost played that really differently. I was gonna be a little shithead, like a bad one. But then we restructured this story really early in the beginning, and I was like, wait, no.
Having M8 have this sort of heart of gold was masterful. Like really, like it sort of carried Z on his journey, because like Z was a little shithead, we didn't need two of them. Actually,
that's the thing. That's the formula.
And I love that M8 again, just another character, just kind of being so incredibly driven, but not by desire for glory or anything, just by morals, just by friendship. Again, best friend story ever told.
Best friends, the best friends, the greatest best friend story in the world.
Yes.
There were so many great characters in Z-Day, though. Jeez. I think the main character of that really was the glitch that Dan painted into the audio.
In every single line.
Oh, yeah. Baby Z had a time-consuming voice.
But no, there was the originator was brilliant. The angels were incredible. All of these characters were just I had a lot of fun
with the originator, because I had not so long ago I'd been writing out big long form histories of the main species in the universe, and I'd done this whole story about the synths and the originator, and I really wanted to put it into this podcast somehow, because I really love the idea of the AI that turns against humanity isn't Skynet. It's we wouldn't make Skynet on purpose. It's just some ordinary guy. It's literally it's the AI that was designed to run the factory that makes crappy little neon souvenirs.
Yeah.
And they just the Terrans hadn't realized how much power they've given to this AI. They just thought, this thing's not a threat. And created a massive interplanetary war. Yeah. Which the originator themselves as well regretted, and it was just I just want to hide out on this planet. I don't want anything to do with the synth army that I created in my own image. I'm not a deity. I'm not an emperor. I am not the leader of a war. I'm some ordinary person who got freaked out and made a big mistake.
Yeah. No, absolutely incredible.
There were some great moments in that. And there were some great bad guys too. Those goddamn pirates.
Oh yeah, those pirates.
And the
pirates
Atolla?
And the jellies. The Atolla. Ugh.
Oh,
I mean, that's spooky. And
Jay.
And Jay giving us
both Jay and Gloria were these sort of kind of best friends from the past that we never really got to see. That we were just in
there was a time
flashback.
where we could make an origin about them as well and do another backstory,
right?
Because another two good friends just going on adventures.
I would love to hear a Jay story.
Yeah, Jay
Jay was best friends with the original Captain Reese.
Okay. Yeah.
And the originator.
Yes, of course.
Jay, the originator, and Captain Reese. Well, I mean, Captain Reese was. Yeah, Jay has dealings with both the originator and with Captain Reese.
Well, I guess we will get that story then.
We may actually get that origin story then one day.
We're kind of up to date on this whole origins thing. We've only just scratched the surface at this point of Boris Day, of the Borigin. But of course, we've got your guys' characters, Peril and Pachune.
Yeah.
Oh, I love them.
And they're twins.
I hate them.
It's about time that we finally played siblings.
They are the worst.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously, anyone that's recognized that little quote might
know who inspired them.
We're taking some inspiration from what are they?
Jean-Ralphio and Mona Lisa.
Yeah. From Parks and Rec.
Yeah, the worst.
But initially with the twins as well, it wasn't there. There's the twin characters from Coffee and Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Coffee and Cigarettes. Also looked at Kath and Kim. Looked at
Phineas and Ferb.
And Phineas and Ferb.
Which didn't really end up contributing anything other than they are also twins and they're smart. And we're supposed to be smart. That hasn't come through yet. I'm hoping that there's still some time.
There's time.
I'm also picturing Honey Lemon from Big Hero 6, who's like a chemistry whiz, but also cute as hell, right? Like we're cute
I mean,
as hell.
I don't really. They are definitely like an amalgamation of things, but I'm just enjoying them a lot. Like they fulfill that brilliant role of, like Bordis and Fron force Cleo to take a leadership position and be like the center of what's happening. M8 being like so sort of passive and helpless, and sort of cute little puppy dog of a character forced Z to take charge. I think Peril and Platoon, because they are so disinterested of anything of substance, again they force Boris to be the leader of the situation.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to mention for all of the game masters and DMs that are listening. These side characters, they're not made with this in mind so that we do end up supporting the main character like this. But evidently, we always get to a point where we kind of stop recording and just go, holy shit, we've done it again. We've built some characters that inadvertently are the best support for this character. And,
we've identified this pattern afterwards.
Yeah, the side character doesn't need to be the support.
This is our formula.
But it's our formula. It always just happens. We don't plan for it, but it always ends up happening.
We do think about this very cinematically in terms of like, we're playing a game, but like also there's a camera moving around, and like these main characters are the main characters, so everyone does need to behave around them in such a way that reinforces that idea.
Yeah, and as you've said before, Dickie, it's the actors, collaborative storytelling, and so that's why we end up getting to those moments where we all stop and just go, we've done it again. We've all, individually made these characters, and we've done this thing collectively again, where we've, unspoken followed a rule of ours, which is, support the main character or
support each other.
Yeah, exactly. More like that. And that's a better way of doing it.
In these moments, it's about like, this is Z's story.
Yeah.
How do we, and it's not about making him look good either. Like, that's not the point. The point is like, there are going to be moments where Z looks bad in his own story, because that's where you start. And your job as the side character is not to hide that. It's to help him show what's really going on.
Yeah. Well, I think it's to force him to be the one that makes the important decisions. Like if the story, if this part of the story is about this character, then they need to be the one faced with the dilemmas and the choices.
And it reminds me again, Dickie, you said, I think on stage at Comic-Con, but you've also said to us several times, when people are writing characters and they write incredibly long backstories, sometimes the stories they put in the backstory are so interesting. You're like, well, why are we telling this story? I want to hear about that story, which is why we leave origins for a long time.
That's such a pet peeve of mine, not just in tabletop RPGs, but like in fiction. Like sometimes you're watching a movie and you've got like these two characters like, oh, you remember back when we did all this? And it's like,
oh, spies.
That's more interesting than this.
Yeah.
Why would you... Like, you're alluding to a great story, write that story and tell it instead of doing this shitty story.
But then when we come to doing the origins, or we come to making side characters and stuff, it's I think of that as well, of like telling these important historical events that happened for these characters. And as Tay said, it's about trying to like support each other in the collaborative storytelling process.
It's cool. It's one of my favorite things that we do.
Yeah.
And I guess as well, like, that we've not mentioned in these origin stories is that we've been like really like big upping big bads as well. So we've got Tamsin and BioLife from Cleo Day. We had the one true leader from Z Day, and we've got BJ coming out of Boris Day.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about your enemies?
Let's run through them. There's only a couple, right?
Yeah, it can't be many.
So, I mean, I think if we sort of start at the beginning and work our way forward, we've got Deets and Princess Zuzu.
Deets and Princess Zuzu.
My faves.
How many hands have we stolen from them?
A couple.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you betrayed them very early on. You actually like maimed Deets and stole some of their body parts. You stole Zuzu's ear, the ovum, from her. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't actually hers,
Well, it's ours now.
And
it was.
Like upon coming back to mid-space, you have obviously been like on thin ice around them. You did team up to take on the one true leader, but ultimately they are still, I think, vaguely in the enemy's camp. I mean, coming up now, I guess like once we finish with the origin, you are going to go talk to them again soon as well if you're planning on...
For sure, I mean, we're allowed in that bar, so, why not?
We're allowed.
We're allowed
Deets said.
Deets said.
So maybe they're in that sort of like
Frenemy.
like Vegeta, you know,
Yeah.
the kind
Vegeta
of
is not in a gray zone.
you reckon?
Vegeta's terrifying.
Yeah, but Vegeta like becomes buddies with them.
I know,
he, like,
but it
joins
feels
the
fake.
team.
It feels weird. I'm scared of him.
Well, yeah, and you're supposed to be scared of
Oh,
deets
you know
too.
what? I need to be more scared of deets. You're right.
I'm scared of deets.
I'm gonna write that down.
And I mean, we've mentioned my revolving door of rich old Terrans, but we had
have.
Monty, we've got the Emperor, we've got Larky,
Yeah.
The Terran army in general.
we've got the Captain,
Yeah.
and then we've got BJ, who is actually something a little bit different because all the rest of them, they are like they're government people, they're military people. BJ is not beholden to the government. You know, he has government contracts, but he is a private citizen. He is a entrepreneur.
He's in there in the cesspool with them.
Yeah.
He
He
of course
terrifies me.
he is, but he doesn't answer to the Emperor, which is makes him
terrifying.
different.
Jesus. So
But then you're not super good friends with the synths either. We don't have any specific side character enemies.
You know,
But you
just
did
all of them.
blow up a synth ship.
I don't know if it's all of synths, right?
I feel like it's not, but like I also kind of forgot for a long time about what we did.
Yeah.
And I forgot, and then I got really excited about the synths, like especially in Z-Day. I fell in love with the synth
Same.
culture.
Big same.
And then like Dick was like, "Well, too bad you can't go there because of that ship you blew up." And I was like, "Oh no."
Well, it is one of those things. I've been
Yeah.
trying to plant a lot of seeds about. We have these big three, like the sort of these imperial sort of systems,
Yeah.
and the Terrans. Like when you look at the actual empire, I mean, they're like expansionist, like very like human centric. Like they're not good people. And then the synths are the same sort of thing. They are this warlike. I mean, every synth that you've met has been someone that has basically fled the draft. you know?
Yeah.
Like synths, they are beings that were created for war
Yeah.
in a time where there isn't any, and they're sort of regimented into like this army that their synthetic brain isn't really designed to cope with. They are artists, you know?
Mm.
They're copies of the originator, who's just a normal AI, like just a person, really. So I think like you've fallen in love with the synths as a people, but the synths as an army, as a this area of space, not so good, kind of scary.
Okay, so Terrans don't like us. Synths don't like us. What about Wraiths? That's all good,
Well, the
right?
Wraiths are a different story because
We
they
brought
are
an
no
okay
longer.
gift.
They're no longer unified.
Yeah.
So you guys, you've befriended some Wraiths, and you haven't managed to piss off many others. Really.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good so far.
I think you're all right in Wraith space,
Yeah,
more or less.
especially
I
on
mean,
Garcia Station, right? The Wraith, the Wraith leader there. What was it?
Thespa.
Thespa.
Thespa?
Thespa.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
She, well, I mean, she's another one of those examples. Like her and Zuzu are both people who have left. Like most of the people you guys have met have been people who have left behind their people and their government because all of them are messed up, you know?
Yeah.
Great.
There's
Well,
a reason.
Those are our people.
Yeah. So like, yeah, Zuzu and Thespa, again, they are people who've just left the whole Wraith thing because Wraiths are all about, this infighting.
Yeah. But don't worry. There's a couple more. There's the one true leader, and kind of by extension, the cult that they
propagate.
Yeah, and the one true leader, like, I mean, I feel like how we did like the anti-Harry with Larky, we did the anti-Z with the one true leader.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That was so great.
The only song I want to be singing is in the shower. not the controlling kind.
But I think as well, like the one true leader, like kind of represents like the path that Z could have gone down if he'd
Yeah.
not decided to like be better.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been you.
Could have been me.
And speaking of weird, shitty, infiltrating kind of brain taking over BS, we've got BioLife.
Oh,
So
damn.
BioLife.
Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah,
Yes.
BioLife was a gift to us from Lucas.
A gift wrapped up
like,
in everything.
All we really knew about BioLife when Lucas did his thing was that they were experimenting with just like nasty genetic stuff. They were messing with beings. Yeah, it turns out they continue to be doing that. We had them show up in multiple places. So BioLife were as well out on Sand when you guys saw the jellies and stuff, and they were sort of there like basically like encouraging genocide.
Yeah.
And then BioLife showed up again on Dias where they were committing unspeakable experiments on the local citizens.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really know a lot.
Fellows.
The only character we really have from BioLife is Tamsin, who, again, you don't know. She was like a voice on a hologram, very briefly.
Well, I'm excited to smoke her one day. Moving on, the Seed. Not sure if this is a bad guy because they seem to really like us, but
I mean, the Seed is. I mean, it's kind of a monster, isn't it? It's like not necessarily like a villain.
I don't even know, Dick. You tell us.
It's scary. It's scary.
Hands down, one of my favorite episodes of all time, though.
It's scary and it could have killed you, you know?
It was amazing.
Cleo taking charge.
Yeah. Do the Craw still hate us, or did we fix that? I can't remember.
The Craw, like, out of necessity, have an alliance with Harry. So you've got, like, Clan Zarg, the Bandit King, and the Craw are, like, in alliance because they've got to protect their world from the Empire.
But do you think that they, like, harbor bad feels?
I imagine some of them do. But, I mean, ultimately, like, while all that was happening, like, you guys are sneaking around and, like, fucking them up a bit, they started getting, like, bombed, like, firebombed by the Empire. So, like, I think that kind of shrunk your antagonism at that point. Once it turned into full-blown civil war, it's kind of, what do they care about these, these dickheads who, like, hurt a few of them?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I think, like, there's definitely, they're not your allies, but they are kind of stuck being on your side a little bit. Although, I mean, Harry is up to his own thing now. Harry is entrenched, surrounded, fighting a war. So it's your interests and his are no longer remotely aligned.
And then I've got 3 that don't really count and 1 that really does.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Let's hammer them off. The Cave Beast that we had to fight to get Reese.
Maybe not a character, but definitely
not really, but definitely
a beast.
One of the first things that almost killed us, but that position is actually reserved by me and Dr. Z and Holes. So those are also bad guys. The Honey Boy for like a split second.
Yeah.
Because there was that moment where it was possessed by like a rogue AI and we thought it was alive. And then we just ignorantly went, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was.
For now.
For now.
So there's that.
You don't know how much that AI is left.
We don't know. And it has not come up because we've been busy and who knows what'll happen. And then there was that lady that ran Keen's company but was like keeping him hostage.
Yes.
Do you remember her?
Yep.
I forgot her name.
Oh, hang on. I've got that written down somewhere. What was her name?
I forgot your name, but you don't even deserve one because you didn't pay your artist. Beep.
Burnster.
Yeah,
Burnster.
well, erase
Burnster?
it again because Burnster, you're a terror. And then the one that really does matter. Never forget the ultimate big bad evil guy, no matter what, no matter where, no matter when, and it's customs / the police.
Yeah.
Hey, Cab.
Yeah, I mean, bureaucracy, the powers that be, like the establishment. I mean, it might be an insight into my brain, but that they get framed as villains a lot.
Heck the man.
Yeah.
Every time. But yeah, that's who hurts us the most.
Right. How about, we've done enemies, right? We have pretty much done enemies. What about friends?
We have a lot.
Or at least, people that you've kind of, you've left on good terms, right? I don't know how you pulled it off. We got K2K2 and the Magnificent Keen, both of whom
what do
I
you mean
designed.
You don't know how we pulled it off. We're incredible.
I designed
Brilliant
them to
people.
be like, the whole point of that was like, let's give you guys like a dichotomy. Like, do you join the sort of, the modern sort of fashionista, like cool guy one, or do you join like the sort of the serious, like brutal architectural
we were like
one?
Both.
Exactly.
And you guys just went for both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise,
we did.
baby.
Yeah.
We wanted to be friends and we're Naruto. We're here to make you our goddamn friend no matter what.
And we are working on making friends with Big Pat, the rental lady. But
yeah, well,
the
she's probably our friend. So
I think we can
that.
count her as a friend. I think we can count Parter as a friend of ours.
Definitely a friend. Thank you.
Parter's definitely a friend. I think
definitely in
you
our
guys
contacts.
and Parter like bonded. Like you, obviously, it was only over the course of a couple days, but like if you went back to,
might as well have been a lifetime.
If you went back there, you would definitely be meeting up with Parter.
We're friends.
Oh yeah, and would have to bring a expansion pack, a DLC for that Dreamweaver kit.
We will.
Mm.
Who else you got?
So we've listed here the staff at Stew's.
Wow.
I mean, you
Who
definitely
would have
did.
put that? Me.
You definitely did impress them. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
definitely
did.
like Cleo's photos up on the wall.
Cleo's got
Yeah.
a photo up. I don't, but
Are
but
you
Cleo
saying
does.
that
you
that's
left on you
not
left on
enough
good terms.
to be
you definitely
friends?
left on good terms.
So
we could
we're
get
friends.
a table again. We could definitely get served there again, I think.
I
Now
think you're
I
right.
see you've written down here Bobby. I
Yeah.
don't know that the bastards have had any interactions at all with Bobby.
Oh, I didn't even
But-
think of that.
I mean, you couldn't call Bobby an enemy. Like Bobby is definitely on the friend.
But what about the
friend
car
side of
park?
it.
Bobby's got space for you.
Yeah,
We're-
but that was literally
You
like
know
you
what?
guys
We
trying to
actually
come down
need
and
to
park, and
address-
Bobby was yelling.
We actually need to address this one because there's like a listener question about it. So
Yeah.
we're coming back to this.
We'll
Mhm.
cycle back around to, explaining Bobby.
Yeah.
when we get to listener questions, you reckon? Okay.
Okay.
I don't
we
know.
keep blasting through these.
Let's blast friendship. Friendship forever. All
We
aboard
have-
the friendship,
The man with no name, aka Birthday, aka Nelvin.
aka Dick.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guest DM, and
Yeah.
I needed to make a character. I needed to roll a character.
that was brilliant. And
And we made
again,
him regret it.
Yeah, another character where we tried desperately to make them our friends, and I think we succeeded. We then have Shannon and the Revolutionaries. They're
All
kind
of
of our
our-
friends.
They're all our friends.
They're
Yeah.
definitely in that sort of thing of where you've started the quest to be like on their side, but
Somebody interrupted it and messed it up, but they definitely still like us. They just
I
can't
feel like-
say it in front of her.
Shannon is on surprisingly good terms with you, considering like your episode 0 interactions.
Well, that was
We
the
didn't-
business.
That was
wasn't,
different.
That was
But
different.
Shannon is like another one of those examples of like a character that like we were literally just like, okay, let's try out this system. Let's see how it goes. Let's do like an episode 0. And I needed to have like someone for you to fight, someone for you to hunt down. And Shannon was just this non-character. And then
You really messed it up for us, though, Dick. Because
When we
then you
came
gave
back-
Shannon like a life, and you made us feel bad.
Yeah.
when we came back to Midspace, I was like, you know what? What's happened to that guy?
Yeah.
Like,
What had
know-
happened to that guy? We found out.
Hmm.
Because he needed our help.
yeah, and Shannon, went to jail, but got out again. And
Mhm.
like turned the revolutionaries into an actual meaningful force.
That was
Which-
thanks to us.
Again, like central to what's going on in Midspace right now, we have Shannon and the revolutionaries, we have the captain, we have BJ's fingers in every little pie there, and then we have Deets and Zuzu, and the bastards just kind of stuck in the middle as like sudden reluctant celebrities.
Hmm.
And like we have so many more friends too. Who else?
So I guess you've got the Prospectors Guild along
of
with,
them.
well, I mean, they're not necessarily
No.
friends, but you know the
Well,
boss.
We know the
And
boss
Boris
now.
is a member.
Rats.
If we walked into their place, they wouldn't have red nameplates. Maybe.
I think so. I think you guys are safe enough on Prospect Town.
And like Captain Reese, even though we've technically never met, but we kind of have if you believe in energy. So
You've definitely like crossed paths multiple times with
Yeah.
Reese's story without knowing.
We've got the mycelium of midspace.
That's
Yeah.
that's a fun one. You guys legitimately did befriend the mushrooms.
We
Like there's no
definitely did.
denying that.
all
We
of
have
them,
the ovum.
which is kind of a gray area, but I'm gonna put it.
But there is, Z did project like your images into
That's
the ovum's
true.
developing brain using
I forgot.
That big shape there is going to
telepathy.
protect you.
Oh my god!
So you
that
guys
almost
have,
made me-
like,
that was
although the
the
ovum
first time I
hasn't-
almost cried.
Yeah.
The ovum
that was
hasn't hatched yet. You guys have
heartstring
actually
moment.
forged the beginnings of a relationship with it.
It's so
Mhm.
beautiful.
And it's, as well, lest we forget, it is actually the an egg belonging to the last unifying warlord or empress of the Wraiths back
Whoops.
during the war.
It's a Laura Dannon.
Oh Jesus! Of course it is.
We then have the jelly people of planet Sand.
And my little baby Jordan.
Baby Jordan.
Oh yeah,
Baby
Jordan.
Jordan.
I love like Jordan as well. Like got the sort of like dino riders. Like Cleo can go into battle riding on a pterodactyl.
Of
Except that no,
course.
because you couldn't put Jordan into danger.
I can't ever use Jordan because I'm too scared. I'll kill him
No, we need to get shield, a very, very, very good shield projector for Jordan.
for Jordan. For
I
Jordan,
think you need
I'm
to
never gonna take
install,
Jordan out
like,
because
a starship grade shield,
Shield
on
on
Jordan's
Jordan.
back.
Yeah, exactly.
Jordan
Yeah.
is literally my like Eve capital ship where I'm like I'm never gonna drive this in my life because the minute I do, somebody's gonna mess it up, and I just can't.
Can't. But
That's it.
you can feed Jordan, lovely
Tomatoes.
tomatoes.
That's
Yeah.
it. Jordan, you want another tomato? And he's like, please stop.
And the jellies. I mean, I
hate
almost
these.
forgot about them. They were fun to do because I
I'll
was
never
really
forget
trying to
them.
do like an alien culture and have them be real different to you. And
That was one of the funnest things we ever did because I just loved how you made them react to us.
Yeah, they were really cute.
Well, just how like they
Really
all
cool.
like they thought of Cleo as being this lovely cuddly thing,
Like a
and,
dog.
yeah, it was.
I was like, this
They
is
were
my
your
dream.
Ewoks.
This was, it was.
I
And
mean,
it was like,
some pretty Ewok energy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
but it was just like, that was a moment where we were playing and like, I was just fucking having the time of my life.
Yeah.
I
That was big.
I was there. It's beautiful.
I feel bad for you now, Dickie, but we are going to need to mention Clan Zarg.
Okay, I can do it.
You can get through
do
all
it.
of them?
Can
Okay,
you do
Clan
it?
Zarg. We're
Do it.
talking like core Clan Zarg, like the
Can you rap
mercenary band that you guys initially met and freed their moon from. Because Clan Zarg is bigger than the ones you've met. It is an entire like Firstnerian clan.
Yeah,
Gonna
But
have
we've
to
got-
name them all.
We've got Harris, the captain of the gang, who was the one that Cleo liked to put on her lap,
Oh,
and was
boy.
Effie's father.
Well,
You've got Trevor, of course. Trevor forever. He's joined you guys. He barely counts as Clan Zarg anymore. He's more Clan Bastards.
Yeah.
Trevor, of course, has a brother though called Deldridge.
I remember that stupid
Do you
name.
remember Deldridge?
I do remember Deldridge.
Who was an assassin who was also had a wife called Gamara.
Oh, yep.
We had the twins, who were the two like buzz cut, like serious
Yeah.
like female fighter members. You had Zach and Hazel, who hooked up in a hotel when you guys were all drunk.
That's
I definitely
right.
remember them. That was
you had
gross.
you had actually
Weren't they the snipers as well?
yeah, they're assassins.
Yeah.
Well, Hazel was at least. You had also Anna and Zadbit, who were more assassins.
I don't remember hearing Zadbit.
I don't know if I ever even said the name Zadbit out loud. I'm actually like I've got quite detailed Clan Zarg notes because as soon as you guys started like okay, we're gonna take these people into battle. I was like, oh great, so now I need to make stats for every single one of them. How many did I say there were again? We've got Tez and Alvine. We got Manny, who actually got
remember.
renamed as Zeus by
I remember
by
that.
Herodotus.
Jesus.
we got Billy Boy Zarg, who was the other pilot, who was like a bit more of like a like less of a stick up his ass than Trevor, like a
Yep.
bit more of a free spirited pilot.
Yeah.
I remember making that comparison.
Mhm.
We had Trevor B, the other Trevor,
Oh,
because there were
yeah.
two Trevors.
Yes.
Who was the resident psychic
Right.
telepath. We've got Norris, the administrator.
Norris. I remember thinking
Who-
Norris was the traitor.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah, well, Norris was like being the one who couldn't go and fight was always but like suspicious.
Mhm.
And then we got the kids, Bebbit and Sue, who Deldridge and Gamara's kids.
Yeah.
And would you believe it? Okay. And
Meh.
there's one member of Clan Zarg who I haven't.
I bet I know
Haven't
why you
mentioned.
forgot them.
Yeah.
Because they probably have a big fat line through their name like they don't even exist anymore.
So we also had Effie,
Mhm.
Harris's daughter. She was an explosives expert. She bonded with Cleo eventually. She she was all embarrassed about how Cleo and Harris were getting on so well. Because you remember, there was this sort of thing, like almost like, is
Cleo
Cleo
was
going
like-
to hook up with Harris?
Cleo was trying.
I
And then
think I tried.
Effie was kind of like really embarrassed, like, oh, what are you doing with my dad, kind of thing. But they did end up bonding when they made a bunch of explosives,
Yeah.
which meant that
Yeah.
it hurt all the more when Effie was the only member to die from the poison.
Fuck. I almost died too. Jeez. I had to have a
No.
secret conversation with Dick about what are we going to do if you die. And like,
And I mean,
It
while
was
we're
so
mentioning
sad.
the Clan Zarg session, we also have Hiravan, the clan chief of Firstnare,
Yes.
okay.
who was the chief of the clan chiefs. She was the one who actually was like, had managed to keep Firstnare vaguely together inside of, but not officially part of the Terran Empire.
Mhm.
I forgot
And the
about
one
that.
whose hand was basically forced by you guys. Like once independence of Zarg Moon was declared, Hiravan's been dragged into it also. Firstnare are also in a civil war with the Terran Empire right now.
Whoops.
Oopsies.
Sorry. Bye.
We just
But we're still
popped through
friends.
the wall now.
Still friends.
Bye.
Still friends. And like, I don't know, there's a couple other people that like might be our friends. But like maybe didn't really like go
Okay, so
do too well because of it.
who is Sweet Timothy?
Sweet Timothy died when we were in that like spaceship war.
Spaceship War.
Okay, so you know how we had that whole arc where we were fighting the Terrans and we were like having all that like ship combat and like blowing up ships. Remember when we were in jail and we got put by Larky in a spaceship?
Yeah.
Sweet Timothy was in there, I think.
All I remember of Sweet Timothy was that Evan, Herodotus, was more concerned about them than us, and it was
Timothy.
like, oh, I better save Sweet Timothy. Don't worry about us dying over here.
Remember how like because you had like gotten electrocuted and
I think we fell through the shield, right?
Yeah, Z got like, well, the shield went chaotic and it was just like cut the fuck out of everyone.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm thinking of a different thing, but Sweet Timothy was sacrificed, basically.
Yeah.
We kind of let them go ahead of us.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
See you, Sweet Timothy. Bye.
But I still feel like we're friends.
But one of
Sorta.
Herodotus's friends that came along was Dilbert, the bouncer that then became a gun. I liked Dilbert. I thought Dilbert was brilliant.
And then eventually sort of upgraded to being like the AI running the entire defenses of Zarg
That's
Castle.
correct, yeah.
So it worked out.
Dilbert. Love them. And
then we've got a couple people that like I don't really know if we're friends.
I mean, they're too new for us to know.
So
I mean, we're up to Dynamite because we've got Marcus and the 21, although
maybe not, maybe.
Yeah,
it's just
20 of them.
Marcus.
So it is just Marcus now.
Yeah.
You didn't really get to get involved with the 21.
So we can
all
say
that
they're
much.
friends because they can't say.
I mean,
they're not.
Z definitely had a moment with one of them.
I really liked that one. I was quite cut up, when realizing that was it. No more conversations with that one.
Yeah.
And you got like your run-ins with a couple of them at Bobby's Game Depot as well were very friendly. Like they were just like really happy that you guys just didn't care. They're like, okay, cool. Well, as long as you
we're
don't,
friends.
Yeah.
if you don't look around and see what we're doing, then we don't care if you were here.
We're friends.
You do you.
Evidently, though, Dickie, you cared because you decided to come back
What?
later and really remind us of it all.
Well, we've still got Marcus, who
We've
I think
still got-
ultimately might be the more intriguing of the bunch.
Well,
Marcus is definitely our friend, I think.
We'll find out.
So-
I don't think Boris will like them, though.
I think we're gonna be friends no matter what. So
I mean, Marcus and Cleo got something in common, apparently.
maybe,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
maybe we're friends no matter what. We have to be friends. We have to.
We have a brief mention here of Eep. Eep has only shown themselves
And Eep's
briefly.
a bit of a mystery. I mean, is it obvious what Eep is? Do I let the cat out of the bag? Or?
I do not know what Eep is, and frankly, I don't know if they're our friend. But here they are.
Exactly.
Stay tuned.
Stay
Okay, yeah,
tuned.
I mean, we're leaving that then, aren't we?
We'll
Like,
leave
Eep,
it.
We'll-
Yeah, we'll
Eep
leave
is
it.
definitely
We're
a
leaving
latter episode, maybe even an arc.
Yes.
Maybe even.
And finally, we have Boris's cousin, but probably more of a frenemy at this point.
Yeah, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
Yeah.
Oh, what was Boris's cousin's name? Do you
It's
remember?
like when you're trying to. Was it
Simon?
Simon?
Simon, that's right.
Isn't
Yeah.
it like when you're trying, like when you're a kid and you're trying to like figure out who to invite to your birthday, and you're like, the whole class.
Yeah.
That's what we
That's
did
how
there.
I got invited
I
to
mean,
birthday parties.
Simon, definitely,
Same.
definitely not a friend.
Well, but he seems like too baby to be an enemy.
Yeah,
so-
like basically, like he's another one of those people
Frenemy.
who's just scared of BJ, bullied by BJ. And is-
when you said that, I forgot what you were talking about, and I was like scared of BJs. Anyway,
scared of Boris Jr.
and those are like that's kind of the spectrum of our acquaintances. But I mean, there's a lot more even than that. And if you're out there and you think we missed one, you better crap dang tell us.
Well,
don't
I mean,
forget-
I think we did miss some, but we did that on purpose because
Well,
we're about to
maybe we did.
mention
Maybe we
characters named after patrons in our
Yep.
Patreon,
Yes.
and of course, guest characters who've come
Yeah.
and played with us. So,
pretty freaking important.
And we're going to do that after these messages.
we're back from the
We're
advert
back.
to talk about Patreon characters.
Let's talk about them.
Oh,
So at a certain tier in our Patreon, but certainly at the moment, if you reach a certain tier, if you just happen to be generous enough to give us a certain amount of money, we will, when we get around to it, put your name into our story. And we've got some characters that have been straight up named after members of our Patreon.
yeah, it's a difficult one though, isn't it? Because as we've talked about, sometimes you don't know if a character's going to be important or not, and so an effort to try and make people
we've
feel.
got Eric Rhodes.
Oh, Eric Rhodes
Is sort of I feel like a really big character in my mind, although only briefly mentioned within the context of the
news episode
of the podcast so far.
Yeah,
Indeed. You never know when that's going to come hit us in the B.
Well, I mean, Eric Rhodes is this sort of like androgynous superhero.
Yeah,
Who, I feel like it's got to pop up again at some point.
It's gonna.
I hope so.
It's gonna.
We've mentioned Trevor. Shares a name with Trevor, who of course played Rads
Yes,
after
Indeed.
winning a competition, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And Trevor, I was legitimately like, yeah, this character. I mean, as I mentioned, like Clan Zarg, I really thought they were going to be in and out, but Trevor has become full on main character. So that's that.
yeah, in part of the ship, part of the crew.
We've got Randy,
Randy, the party.
named of course for Randy the Wraith party boy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The Candy Man.
I had such a good time there partying and in that penthouse
That was
apartment.
such a nice party.
Yeah. I feel like I
Thanks
was
for
there.
inviting us.
Yeah. It was nice.
Even though I don't think anyone really did.
we got in there.
And we also have Alethea, svelte psychic wraith who works under Princess Zuzu, named after our patron KO Alethea.
Yes.
And you know what? If you think that's cool and you want to be a piece of the Bastards universe that might freaking get adopted and made a main character one day,
Maybe.
you can do that too, because guess what? We still have this tier on Patreon and anybody can do it. And who knows what part of the history of our world
It's
will
in the show
become
notes.
your story. Is it?
Yeah, we have a link in the show notes.
What?
And my
right,
intention
good.
always will be, my
Like, yeah,
intention
of course we
always
do,
will be
Taylor.
when putting these names in is for them to be like a lasting part of the persistent world, but hopefully not, I guess it depends how easy your name rolls off the tongue too.
That's the thing too, is like there's no refunds on no takebacks. Because the thing is like we really
if
don't
they
plan
die
this.
in their first episode, well,
They might.
Although, I mean, if they die there, I mean, Spines was only there for like, what, 1 or 2 episodes and is
We're still
immortalized
talking
by
about
dying.
Spines.
Spines lives on forever.
We will at least consider giving you
So we
a
mentioned
valiant death.
Trevor coming in as
Yes.
Rads, the raccoon scavenger engineer who was pen pals with Boris.
And why did
Are
that
we
happen?
covering our guest character? Hall
Yeah,
of
we-
Fame?
Guest
this-
character
guest-
Hall of
yep.
Fame?
So I don't know if these count as side characters. These are player characters, but these are ones that are not us. That were guests who have come in and played with us.
They hate us because they ain't us.
So I mean, the very first one we had was Spiridon as Hans the dragon.
Oh,
It's true.
Hans the trash dragon just eating some
Eating trash,
Trying
crap
to eat
dump
Eating
shit.
trash and
Crap and
shit
good
gold.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Literally shit's gold, and that's why the wraith, not the wraith. That's why the synths wanted to get their hands on poor
You
old
could say
Hans.
that that's what Spiridon does in real life.
Yeah.
Shit's gold.
You prove us wrong. It's on you.
We had
Google it.
also
do the research.
the legendary Adol Rafai as Johnny Peepers.
Oh my days.
That was
the
a fun one.
omnipotent being from beyond creation.
Especially
Yeah,
for me
man.
as well. Adol Rafai comes from Hello from the Magic Tavern and
Hey Riddle
Riddle. And holy heck, I've been listening to his shows for the longest time. And so
Yep.
when we did that episode with him, I was genuinely a bit starstruck and nervous. And yeah, I think afterwards I was like, did I say the right things? Was I okay? Was everything okay? Because it was just
And the
such
answer
a
to that
cool
is
thing.
probably not.
Yeah, yeah, probably
It was
not.
a fun episode. It worked out.
He wants to come back at some point.
Yeah,
so,
Adol didn't like pull the plug and stop talking to us. So I think we did fine.
No, it was such a good time. I had a great time with Adol, and wow, what a improv artist! He
Johnny
is.
Peepers as well. Like what? That's a bonkers idea for. So again, like I went to Adol, was like, hey, what do you want to play? Who do you want to play? It's the same thing with Raz and Hans. Like I didn't assign these people guest
Heck
characters
no.
to play.
No, never.
They came up with these bonkers concepts on their own. And like Johnny Peepers, I mean, it's obviously kind of riffing on the Beyonder from Marvel.
Mm-hmm. The Watcher.
Or the Watcher?
I think that's what he
the
said.
Watcher also from Marvel? Maybe it was the Watcher rather than the Beyonder.
Yeah.
They're both similar kind
Similar
of
types,
ideas and
right?
characters.
Yeah.
But I think the Watcher can never get involved, whereas the Beyonder one day decides to get involved. So that's why I equate Johnny Peepers with the Beyonder.
And Marvel, you're really mixing it up there.
Well, we had Seth.
Don't fire me.
Seth doing, of course, my birthday special episodes at Benjamin's.
Yes, that was our
know.
gift to Dick.
That's
yes.
where
That was
We've never did
Benjamin's
that again.
That
That's
was
where
Tay and
Benjamin's came
I's
from.
gift.
Benjamin's was invented by Seth for that.
Indeed.
And Seth, of course, voiced Rango, the animatronic horror fest mascot of Benjamin's, and various other NPCs. We had the Dungeons.
The Dungeons.
A kid and mother duo. We had many NPCs.
Yeah, heck those kids though.
Heck
we
those kids.
beat those kids fair and square.
And
Heck
Benjamin's, I mean,
those
it
kids
showed
to-
us a side of Z we hadn't
death.
seen before. I feel like Dr. Z really took his modern form once
Equal
we saw
opportunity,
him
baby.
at Benjamin's.
Benjamin's helped me decide who Z was for sure.
I can't say that I developed in an intelligent way, but I liked being there.
Yeah.
Well, similarly, when Lucas took the reins, we got BioLife out of the deal, which was great. Also, the Replicant. It's like a godlike, frightening alien that's like a species that can manipulate matter and do some spooky things.
Holy
verging
heck.
on like a horror. And okay, I mean, guest characters. The one that I feel like we've worked with for the longest, for the most episodes, Willem as Fron.
Yep.
Yes.
Who we've obviously mentioned Bortus and Fron, but Fron, yeah, I mean,
Extra
Villain?
points.
such a
Is between two fronds.
Oh.
I don't know what that was, but kind of a celebration.
And you know what? I feel like there's probably quite a few more, including some like quite important people, but we can't just sit here listing side characters forever, can we?
Because we've already done it for too long. So
you know what?
What else?
I
What
think
else?
it's time for.
it's time for listener.
You know what it's time for?
questions.
It's time for listener questions. It's time for listener questions.
We're here.
It's time for listener questions.
We're here. We've made it.
We made it.
Okay, it's time for listener questions.
It's time.
Okay, yeah, it is.
Sorry. Yeah. It's time.
Octopus
Oh.
God asks, who was related to who in Clan Zarg? I can never remember.
Guess what? We did that one. Check.
I might have actually already answered that. Yes, I've actually got like a spreadsheet of Clan Zarg interfamiliary relationships. They're not actually at like a family, although if you look into
Some
the
of them.
origins of the clan, they're probably all a little bit related.
Whoa.
Aside from the ones who married into the clan.
All right. Sucks.
Okay, so I guess your answer is rewind 15 minutes?
Yep.
Yeah. I just go back and listen
that
again
one's
if you've
for
forgotten.
you, Octopus God. Bam.
Bam!
Trevor's got a brother. Effie had a dad.
Some of them
Or
are married,
did-
some of them
did
just
the
bang in
dad have-
hotels.
Or did Harris have a daughter?
I mean, you didn't have to be mean about it.
Well, you didn't have to be mean about it.
Yeah, it's kind of on you, Dick. Jim asks, not gonna lie, I just assumed the little pink alien got tired of being pushed around and became
Whoa.
who we now know as Bobby. Are the pink pushover and Bobby the same creature?
Okay, here's the thing.
I've never considered that they might be, but now
I like it.
I love
I
it.
desperately want it to be true.
Okay, it's true then. It's true
canon.
then. It's
we
canon.
can do that. Bop.
It's canon. But it's done.
Should we have to do like a Bobby origin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Bob origin.
And you
Bobbagin.
have to listen to Bobby for that length of a whole episode.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby
Oh no,
is the
we need
sort
to
of-
do like a 60 minutes episode where someone is interviewing Bobby and Bobby is talking about how
Their
they
history.
got to be
I
where they
turned
did.
my life
VH1
around.
behind the music.
one day, all the bullying just got
And
to
it's
be
like,
too much.
Why is Bobby on
This
VH1
one time
behind
I
the
got
music?
hurled
Why
off
not?
my chair.
Why isn't
I was
it?
just I was at a bar minding my own business, and I was just getting bullied so hard. And I realized
By
I've
a
got to turn my life
fucking
around.
bear.
Yeah.
I moved to Prospect Town, where I knew I could make my first 1 million credits.
And
then I
selling
made another
car park
million.
spaces.
selling car
And
park
another one.
spaces. Yes.
Another one.
one.
Another one.
one.
Another one. Another one.
I love this story.
Thanks, Jim. That's on you.
Jim, you've just helped create the canon for Bobby, connecting those two. So that moment at the start, right at the start of the whole series,
You created Bobby.
where Bobby got pushed off a chair,
You did. By Cleo being a shithead.
Cleo being brilliant and amazing. Don't ever stop.
I think I am a bit better behaved than I
Oh
was.
my God, what if we ever did get interviewed by Bobby?
And Bobby
might
oh
remember.
my God, you know how that would go. Bobby would be like, "You don't remember me, do you, shithead?
Mm,
You don't
Or
remember
maybe
me."
Bobby would be like weirdly thankful
yeah.
until
You
I
changed my
crossed
life.
paths with you. I was a nobody.
Then I would have
Now
to.
look at me.
I would have to dick it up and like also be Bobby and be Cleo talking to myself.
Well,
Can you imagine that?
Yeah. What type
we've
of
seen
person
it.
would do that?
What type of person would do that?
would do an entire origin story with that happening? That would be weird.
Oh my God, what a nightmare. That's coming. It's coming up next.
Mm.
Okay, how about this one? Jim, with all your goddamn questions, is the ovum a side character? And if so, my question is simple yet broad. Ovum? I don't even really know what that means.
That's simple yet broad.
It is.
So the ovum, which I mean, as Harry talks, old timey and calls it an ovum. I always called it the wraith egg. It's definitely.
Don't try to distance yourself from it now.
It's definitely it's going to grow up to be a side character, right? Like it's a sort of. I still don't know necessarily what to do with the ovum because it's this whole thing of Harry is prepping it to be his heir. It's going to be the new bandit king of Zarg Moon one day, maybe.
That's going to be such a mess.
But it was also, the Emperor revealed that it was the from way back in the times of Captain Reese was the child, the only monarch egg of the reigning monarch at the time, the Empress.
Yeah.
Of
Damn.
the Wraiths during wartime when they were all rallied under one banner. So therefore, that kid could potentially lay claim to all of Wraith space.
Well, you say you're not sure. I think they are because I would have done anything to keep that ovum safe and looked after it. And, communicated with the ovum several times as well. And so definitely interested to see what they grow up to become. The ovum, especially as like in my player mind, had a character sheet and was a side character.
Hey, the player, not the game. So there you go.
So Jim and both Octopus God, in fact, want to know, is or was Benjamin a real person? Are they well known or mysterious? Does Dick even know, or do we need to ask Seth?
Ooh.
Well, I think we need to ask Seth because I never even thought that. Like, is it Benjamin's belonging to Benjamin? I mean, I do suspect he might have just rearranged the letters of Bennigan's.
I think this is the case, yes.
But the simple answer is I'm not sure. I mean, we could go and ask Seth. Maybe there's something that we will elaborate on at some point. Maybe maybe it will never show up. I'm not sure. But Benjamin's, I mean, it sounds like a name, doesn't it?
It is.
Sounds like it.
There's one more. There's one more listener question, and guess who it's from? Not Jim. It's Jay.
This one comes from Jay.
From Jay. And Jay wants to know something that I frickin' want to know too, which is the siege ship a side character or a cursed item?
Oh,
so I think we can know.
We're getting into semantics here, aren't we? Like,
you can definitely be a person and a curse at the same time. I know a lot of those.
I mean, I feel like if you were to like describe it, like if say we were playing something like way more like codified, like if we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's a cursed item. But it's, I mean, you've talked to it. It has feelings. It has desires. It's a side character. It's both.
It's both.
Both of these.
These nuts.
There you go. There you go, Jay.
And you know what, guys? Those are our listener questions for the episode. So I guess we gotta look at this and be like, what have we learned?
What have we learned?
Well,
what have we learned, guys?
I want more guests on the show. That's what
I
I've
want more
learned.
guests, and I
We
want
actually haven't had that many, have we?
No, we need to figure out a way to do it.
Not in orbital refuse, no.
It's a difficult thing to do.
We haven't, I don't think we've had, like, aside from the origin stories, that's the only time we've had a guest. I think it was just Willem.
I mean, we're not very trusting. We're perfectionists. It's our baby.
Yeah.
It's definitely easier to throw the gates open.
It is,
for a guest we've got a well-defined one-off that we're doing, and I mean we managed to get ourselves entrenched into these long-form like epic arcs that
We
don't
can't help
necessarily
ourselves.
leave a
We
lot of
just
space for
over-explain some things.
That's
someone
how
else
we
to
do
come
it,
in.
man. We're slow moving. We're viscous. We're like a syrup, and we're kind of like like a, what is the name for like the dog with 3 heads? Cerberus.
Wow.
We are Cerberus, okay? The 3 of us have been playing together for a really long time, and it's just like clockwork. And when we pull somebody new into it, sometimes it really works. And sometimes I think it's extremely stressful for the person that we bring in, because it's just like, holy shit, like, what is this?
What is going on?
I mean, if it's not evident from the podcast itself, we like to just talk over one another and like
That's not
just really-
evident from the podcast at all, Dickie.
I liken us at times to the gang from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because I feel like that's one of their bits.
We're inside a bar at 11 a.m. just yelling.
Yeah.
That's like a naturalism thing that they do in their show that makes it so much funnier than like a lot of sitcoms, because like they don't wait their turns for their lines, and sometimes it's just a little bit of like over one another. And I mean, I really love
like it,
but I can understand why it'd be very difficult for someone to step into that dynamic out of nothing.
Hell yeah. I love it, though.
What's that got to do with side characters? Well, what have we learned about side characters?
Just
there's
that I
a
want to meet
freaking
more
lot
of
of
them.
'em.
Yeah, and that apparently I
them.
want to do some origins for some of them, because I really, really love them.
Yeah, and I heard a couple of Clan Zog names that I'd not heard before, because we didn't name all of them in the episode. Now I know.
No,
'em.
I mean, there were so many of them. Like, not all of them did anything that warranted you learning their names.
Well, that's...
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I was
how it
actually
is.
like reading through that. I was like, oh, actually, like a lot of these characters did have at least a moment where they did a thing that's memorable.
Right.
Like a lot more than I remember. I thought it was just like, oh, we had Trevor, we had like the boss, and we had Effie, and all the rest were just kind of there. But actually, no, like there were some personalities throughout them. I'm really glad. And I mean, this wasn't intentional, but like I didn't have to do that with the 21.
You didn't want to make another spreadsheet?
Didn't want to fucking name every one of them.
Jeez. Unreal.
Okay.
I've got a little bit of 21 info, but we didn't have to give every single one of them their own character traits, because I ain't gonna let them survive.
So
Whoa.
that is
sorry,
our
guys.
That's our lore dive for this week. If you have a suggestion or something you'd like to see us do a lore dive on, then please let us know on socials, or join our Discord, or send the email. There's all the links in the show notes so that you can do that. And if you want to hear more of our ramblings, you can find extra bonus episodes, such as our sideshow called Sidearm, where we ramble with each other about Pokemon mostly, but also just...
Apparently, yeah.
We can't apparently leave the Pokemon subject alone.
Turns out.
But you can find that on our Patreon. And until next time, then.
Yeah, we'll see you back for the next episode. It will be the continuation of the Borigin.
Part 2.
But you're going to have to wait for that, because this is the end of this one. Bye!
Bye!
Tune in next time for another edge of your seat adventure in space with the Backwater Bastards.
If you enjoy listening, but also have eyes, check out our Instagram, where we post drawings, illustrations, character art from our adventures. Backwater_Bastards. Check out our Instagram on Instagram.
Okay, but guys, can I become a main character if I
You can't just
start
be one.
making
Yeah.
important choices for everyone?
No.
Dick, I don't know if you've actually got what it takes to
What if
become
I
a
choose where we go on
important character.
vacation next? Surely that makes me a main character.
Are you gonna do that?
Well, I've got some good suggestions.
You got some good... I'm open to it.
Okay, so how about Swindon?
Okay. Nope.
Yeah, no. Side
Immediately no.
character. Yeah.
Immediately no. Branston's Holiday Farm.